Welcome back, my friends. It is June 27th, 2019, 11:26 p.m. And I have this chart pulled up for a reason. This is a chart that pertains to the Atlantic hurricane season. And what I want you to notice is that we are still in June, we have July, and then August. August is seriously when we start seeing things pick up. August through September as our peak time for hurricane season in the Atlantic Ocean, and then it's a gradual slowdown. We even have an uptick towards the middle of October before we reach the end of October, and then down towards our November 10th date, which would surpass November 1st rather, and then push us to November 30th, which is the end of hurricane season. And you can kind of see we pretty much have the same chance between December and January as we do between May and June, with a little exception there. But for those of you that are wondering why we're not seeing any Atlantic hurricanes at the moment, it's because it's just the way the atmospheric conditions are at the moment. But don't get me wrong, guys. August, even July, even as early as next week, we may be seeing some of this stuff because we are seeing some very, very high potential for hurricane production, whether that be the South Caribbean or the Gulf of Mexico itself. Now, we officially have the first hurricane of the Pacific season, and that is Hurricane Alvin. Now, again, this isn't expected to last long. It's supposed to go back down to a depression within the next couple days, being that it's moving out into cold water. But what's coming after that is what I'm concerned about. You can see here the solid logo you see here means hurricane. So this is an official hurricane. 992 millibars in pressure, 65 knots, 75 miles an hour, right on that Category 1 status. We'll see how much stronger it gets. According to its path, it's going to have zero effect on land whatsoever, but finally, with the Weather Channel and people anticipating hurricanes, here is the first one produced by the Pacific. But soon after this, we're going to start seeing some more powerful storms. And by that, I mean this is the beginning of it right here. This 10% chance cyclone over 48 hours is more of a 5-day deal, and I'll show you why. This is why. 60% chance of cyclone formation over the next 5 days, and this moisture and energy is coming from the South Caribbean. It's not making its way up to the Gulf because we have a super high pressure bubble going on in the Bermuda Atlantic that is extending through Florida and into the Gulf, keeping any weather that does make it up this area basically hugging the coast and then being pushed through Texas. Again, this is why we saw massive straight line winds up to over 100-mile-an-hour gusts moving through Texas, guys, and that is no joke. You can look that up. Those are facts. But this hurricane here may have a different story. Depending on the pressures going on in the Pacific Ocean at the time, this could be one of those Hawaii pushers. We don't quite know yet. I brought up Ventus skies so we could check out the progression of these and then the water temperature. That is most important. And then we'll close this video with what we expect to see in the next day or two with the U.S. We can see right here over the last 18 hours the Dakotas and Minnesota and Iowa, and then Illinois in turn got completely slammed, finally breaking up over the Great Lakes, and then probably will reform itself over the Northeast as we've been getting a break and some hot weather in this area. But you could see these storms building up over the U.S., guys. They're not stopping anytime soon. So this whole May to June thing where we're going to be seeing constant rain and storms seems to be more of a May through July thing to me, at least at this point in time. And then we got straight line systems coming in through Northern California. There's just no sight and end. But like I said, back to Ventus Sky. Let's take a look at Alvin because this is interesting. I have it set for wind speed 10 meters above the ground. Now they're calling this a Category 1 storm. And what I'm seeing here right now is nothing above 12, 13 miles an hour, and we're at wind speeds of 10 meters off the ground. We could even change it to 100, and we're still not seeing much. So what we're going to do is we're going to move forward in time and see exactly where they think that this thing is going to end up being where it should be. Because right now, they're calling it a Category 1. Just as I said right now, but you circle around the wind, there's no Category 1 winds. But as you move forward in time, you see Alvin move up and out. By the 29th, we start to see some serious energy pouring out of the area of Anoxca and different parts of Mexico that are dropping straight from the Gulf. Another situation with that is that those very severe storms we've been watching in the southern Caribbean that we thought were going to be invests that would put us into the Atlantic invest area, but we can see that flow is so strong at the moment that it is just pushing everything straight underneath Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Haiti. We got Kingston there. We got Santo Domingo. All these areas, and this system just keeps wanting to push right across Central America, basically. And then as we move forward in the dates towards 4th of July, you're going to see something very interesting here. And this could be a very big hurricane, guys. This thing is measuring about 100 miles per hour, give or take, within the first few days that we're seeing it take off. So we're looking at 85 there. Actually, let me switch this back to 10 meters off the ground so we get honest readings. But you're going to see two of these, guys. Two of these pop up fairly quickly. So here's the 4th of July. Now, 4th of July, 10 meters off the ground, we're seeing 90-mile-an-hour winds. So we're talking possible Category 2 storms. We could be seeing something even higher depending on how far west this thing goes before it starts tracking north where the cooler water is, as Alvin is expected to do, and then die out. But just as we're looking at this, which would be letter B, we're looking at a third one, which could be letter C. And as we move into the 5th and 6th, you can clearly see this one developing very quickly and even becomes somewhat bigger than the one we just looked at. So guys, look at this. We are 10 meters off the ground and we're already pushing over 100 miles an hour with these hurricanes. So the Pacific Ocean is primed and ready to start firing hurricanes out. And then remember last year, guys, we had a lot of scares with Hawaii. A lot of these hurricanes got very close to Hawaii. Some hit, some went right over, some went right under. And we got to keep a close eye on that because right after that ended, we started seeing action in the South Caribbean. So that's what we need to watch out for. At any moment, these shear winds and these different jet stream winds, the El Nino should be over by now. But we're going to start seeing storms forming off the coast of West Africa, and they're going to start tumbling right here. We're going to be able to watch these things just as you see them right here. Follow this path along here. And if they do interact with this land, it should weaken them some if they're going to cross. But chances are we're going to start seeing hurricanes coming up into the Gulf and or coming above the Leeward Islands, either through or over Puerto Rico and threatening the east coast of the U.S. That is something I'm definitely seeing with the different charts I'm reading. Now, really quick, just over the last 18 hours alone, you could see, we went over this quickly, the Dakotas got completely slammed, reports of hail, straight wind damage, and as we move forward throughout the night, we had a nice little blow up here down by Mississippi and Alabama, and once again down by Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, all these areas. You could see these storms just constantly building up. We see the moisture moving in through California, and then as it hits that hot air, these things blow up into huge storms, and these storms are moving down into Texas, and then they're being pushed back up in this direction. And look up here, guys. We're seeing another one of these giant bubbles at frame 200. So this is current time right now. So Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, all these states here need to be on alert. We're going to check out Tornado HQ later on, but this video, I wanted to show you what to expect from the Pacific Ocean in the coming days. Today is the 27th, so we are 7, 8, 9. If we go back to the 4th, we are literally 9 days away from seeing a potential fairly strong hurricane. And again, guys, don't be confused by the 10 meters to the 100 meters. You change that to 100 meters and we're well over 100 miles an hour. So you want to keep this to 10 meters to keep it legit and honest info. Don't let people fool you. Don't let people cut this part of the screen out when they're filming, because they will make these things look a lot bigger than they are. but I wanted to show you in real time what we're expecting. This is after Alvin, so this is going to be letter B and letter C. So I had that marked on the thumbnail, and that is basically what I wanted to bring you for this video. I'm working on a second as we speak, and that's what I got for you now, guys. I want everyone to stay safe. We've been having a lot of seismic activity out there, a lot of bulk earthquakes. So we're seeing swarms in areas that we're not used to seeing them. We need to be prepared for stuff like that because that is going to displace people. So we're back to basically not damage control, but we're back to keeping an eye on this stuff and making sure the people that need to know about it know about it. Now, if this thing, I got to keep an eye on the pressures with this storm, because if this storm stays like this, we're looking at 80-degree temperatures all the way to Hawaii, and that's exactly what these things need in order to continue their voyage across the U.S. So with that said, let's get back to Vent to Sky. I'm going to go to... let's see here. Humidity, maybe? Temperature. Let's go temperature. So check this out. Now, if you notice, as we move up into this area where Alvin's expected to go, we start seeing 70-degree weather. That's not really sustainable for hurricanes, so chances are that's going to die out. Now, this one here by the 4th, if this can stay along this path right here, that will sustain this hurricane. And we do have a high pressure up here that's going to release as soon as Alvin shoots north. It's going to shoot north, and we're going to see a bubble of high pressure dip down over here, and that's what's going to force that weather that we just saw into the West Coast, and then in turn down into Texas again with the flow coming from the Gulf. So again, we have flow coming from the South Caribbean, which is pushing the force of these Pacific hurricanes and creating them, as opposed to swinging up into the Gulf, while the Gulf has its own motion moving up. So anything that can escape this flow of moisture right here and gets up into this area could potentially be a Pacific hurricane. But right now, we're looking at something similar as to what we saw last year. A very big pump out of hurricanes coming out of Central America and the Pacific side of things, and we're seeing them with our own eyes, guys. So we just got to follow these warm water paths, as these hurricanes, if they are not influenced by other pressures, they tend to want to follow warm water trails. We've had many instances in the past where hurricanes have literally followed warmer river-like, depths in oceanic water. Sorry, guys. Trying to get this out to you as quick as possible. But, yeah, so hurricanes will follow warm water rivers. It's been documented. In fact, if I have to, I'll put a video out there and show a couple examples. But come July 4th, guys, we have a lot to look out for. We got to keep an eye on this one. And then, in turn, letter C, if this is the way it works out. Because this one, if it stays the trajectory we're looking at right now, we could be dealing with Hawaii having to get ready to experience this a little bit after the 4th. I know we're about 10 days out. A lot can change, but we're certainly going to report on it all the time. So get used to it. All right, guys. Love you all. Thank you all for the positive messages, and we'll be back as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Bye.